I've been stuck in that endless ADHD loop for years, ideas exploding, nothing ever finishing, and the frustration building until I felt completely paralyzed. Last week, I did something wild. I hired an AI body, double to act like a real-life accountability partner for 7 straight days. The results were mind-blowing, and I'm about to spill every detail, the good, the weird, and the breakthrough that finally cracked my focus. I've lived with ADHD my whole adult life, and the pattern has always been the same. I start a project with a burst of excitement. Then the momentum fizzles, and I'm left with a half-written document, a half-cleaned desk, and a mountain of unfinished tasks. Traditional tools like timers, planners, and even medication helped a little. But the core problem, the paralysis that hits when the next step feels too vague or overwhelming, never really went away. An AI body double is a virtual assistant that mimics a human accountability partner. It can schedule reminders, send nudges, hold real-time check-ins, and even appear as a friendly avatar you can talk to. Think of it as a digital coach that never sleeps, never judges, and always has a prompt ready the moment you drift off track. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how I set it up, what happened each day, the one moment that changed everything, and how you can try a similar experiment without spending a fortune. Let's break down the experiment day by day. First, let's talk about the problem itself. ADHD paralysis is rooted in executive function deficits and dopamine regulation. The brain struggles to prioritize, to filter distractions, and to sustain attention on a single task for long enough to see it through. In everyday life, that shows up as missed appointments, endless to-do lists that keep growing, and a mental fog that makes even simple decisions feel exhausting. External accountability works for most people because it provides immediate feedback and a sense of social obligation. But for an ADHD brain, that feedback often arrives too late or feels too abstract to trigger the needed dopamine boost. That's where my AI body double came in. I chose a platform that let me create a persistent avatar with a coach personality, link it to my calendar and task manager through simple integrations, and program daily check-in prompts. The avatar would greet me each morning with a question about my top priority, ping me midday to ask for a progress update, and close the day with a quick reflection. The voice tone was calm but upbeat. The visual avatar looked like a friendly cartoon guide, and the real-time messaging felt almost like texting a real person. When I sent a photo of my cleared desk, the AI responded with a celebratory emoji and a reminder to keep the momentum going. That immediate feedback gave me a tiny dopamine hit each time I checked off a small task, and the visual progress bar turned vague goals into concrete milestones. The first day I tried it, I planned to write a 500-word blog intro. The AI sent a "Start Now" ping at 9 in the morning and asked me to set a 10-minute timer. I got stuck, realizing I needed a micro deadline rather than a vague "write sometime today." The next day, the avatar reminded me every 30 minutes to keep the desk clearing on track, and I actually sent a photo of the empty surface, feeling a lift in mood I hadn't expected. By day 3, the AI asked me what the biggest obstacle was for finishing a client proposal, and when I named the distraction of my phone, it suggested turning the phone off for 45 minutes. I ended up completing 70% of the proposal, something that would have taken me a full week before. What do you think about using a digital coach to break through the paralysis? Let me know in the comments. That moment on day 5 felt like a switch had finally been flipped. I'd been staring at a blank document for what felt like an eternity, the cursor blinking like a tiny, impatient metronome. The AI avatar, sensing the stall, dropped a progress bar onto the chat window, filling it slowly as I typed each sentence. It sent a gentle nudge, "You're at 30% now, keep the momentum going," and then a quick upbeat sound that felt oddly rewarding. With each line I added, the bar inched forward, and the little dopamine hit from that visual cue was enough to keep my brain engaged. By the time the bar hit 90%, I was actually smiling, something I hadn't done while working on a project in months. I hit the final word, hit send, and the avatar celebrated with a burst of confetti emojis and a short, encouraging message. "You did it! That's a huge win!" In that instant, I realized the AI wasn't just a reminder system. It was a proxy for the social pressure and praise that many of us with ADHD miss out on when we work alone. The following days built on that momentum. On day 6, the avatar prompted me to reflect on the week, asking, what 3 things felt most successful? I listed the cleared desk, the proposal progress, and the finished script. The AI then suggested turning those 3 wins into a habit loop: cue, action, reward. It reminded me each morning to set a micro deadline, to capture a quick photo of my workspace, and to celebrate the smallest completion with a short message. By day 7, I felt a sense of continuity that had been missing for years. The AI had become a low effort, high impact partner that kept the feedback loop tight and the dopamine spikes frequent enough to stay on task without feeling overwhelmed. What stood out most was how the AI's structure forced me to break every big goal into bite sized pieces. Instead of write a blog post, I was constantly asked, "What's the first paragraph?" and "How many words will you write in the next 10 minutes?" Those micro goals felt manageable, and each check in acted like a tiny checkpoint that my brain could celebrate. The visual avatar also added a humanizing element. It wasn't just a cold algorithm, but a friendly face that seemed to understand my frustration and offered encouragement in a tone that never felt judgmental. That combination of immediate, specific feedback and a supportive presence turned the abstract idea of getting things done into a concrete, repeatable process. If you're watching this and wondering whether you could set up something similar, the good news is you don't need a massive budget or a team of developers. The platform I used offers a free tier that lets you create a persistent avatar, link it to your calendar, and set up simple triggers with a visual workflow builder. You can start by defining 3 daily prompts: a morning priority, a midday progress check, and an evening reflection. Then add a tiny reward system, maybe a fun emoji or a short audio cue, whenever you mark a task as complete. The key is consistency. Let the AI ping you at the same times each day so your brain learns to expect those micro rewards. Over a week, you'll likely notice a shift in how you approach tasks, just as I did. Of course, no tool is a magic bullet. The AI can't replace the deeper work of understanding why certain tasks feel impossible or addressing underlying anxiety, but it can serve as a bridge that keeps you moving while you work on those bigger issues. Think of it as a scaffolding that you can gradually remove as your own internal accountability strengthens. If you find yourself relying too heavily on the prompts, try extending the intervals between check-ins or reducing the frequency of celebratory messages. The goal is to train your brain to generate its own dopamine spikes from progress, not to become dependent on an external cue forever. So what's the next step for you? If you've tried any form of digital coaching before, share your experience in the comments. If you're curious but hesitant, tell me what part of the setup feels most daunting. Maybe I can walk through that in a future video. And if you're ready to give it a shot, let me know which platform you decide to use and how the first few days go. I love hearing about real-world experiments, and your feedback often sparks new ideas for the channel. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you for sticking around through this deep dive into a week of AI-assisted focus. If this story resonated with you, consider giving the video a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm surface this kind of content to others who might be struggling with the same paralysis. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode, where I'll explore how voice-activated assistants can be layered on top of a digital coach to create a truly hands-free workflow. Your support not only fuels the channel, but also builds a community of people who are actively looking for practical ways to manage ADHD and boost productivity. Remember, the journey from overwhelm to achievement often starts with a single tiny step: a 10-minute timer, a short check-in, a visual cue. With the right tools and a bit of consistency, those steps can add up to real change. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.